The debanking saga continues. But now they're coming for the British countryside, this lot. According to The Telegraph, a third of shooting businesses have had their accounts suddenly closed down. Now, look, I've never in my life had a fervent desire to pick up a rifle and shoot the head off a pheasant. I have never, ever felt the need one morning to wake up, get on a horse and hunt a fox. That's just me personally. However, I do think that if people want to do that, and it is legal, not the fox hunting bit anymore, to be fair, then they should be allowed to do it. And I understand for a lot of people that is a hobby, and crucially, it is legal. So why would banks shut them down? They think that it's against the bank's values. This is a countryside pursuit. It's a rural pursuit. This comes after financial services firm Sum Up banned actual drag hunts from taking payments as well. So, this is, again, another legal activity. Sir Robert Goodwill, the Tory chairman of the Environment Committee and a former DEFRA minister, has accused banks of trying to cancel the countryside. Well, joining me now, I'm very pleased to say, is farmer and former Conservative MP Neil Parish. Neil, rural British countryside pursuits should not be cancelled by snivelling metropolitan liberal elites in the high city towers of London, should they?
No, Patrick. I mean, I think banks should get back to what they're there for, look after their clients, either lend money or look after those with money and process the accounts. I mean, the idea that, shooting and conservation go together. Many of the shoots have, good wildlife. They also have nature conservation areas and wildflower areas. So, the whole thing works quite neatly together. And as you quite rightly say, not everybody wants to shoot, but it is quite legal to do it. And it's part of countryside activity. And I just don't see why the banks think that they can be judge and jury over absolutely everything that we're doing, not only in the countryside, but everywhere else. And what earth are they playing at? We live in a society now where, it's not perhaps government altogether, but Big Brother is appearing and now saying, thou shalt not do that. And I think really it's time the banks went back to dealing with people, looking after our accounts and actually not being so judgmental. I mean, why are they right and why is the countryside wrong? It's not, you see. It's all there, as you quite rightly say, in a legal form.
And one of the key reasons, even if people watching this now are thinking, well, I don't really care if shooting is debanked, I would suspect that you would care singularly on the premise that something perfectly legal should not be debanked. It is perfectly legal, and it won't just end up being shooting. We are moving towards an increasingly eco and vegan world. And so what happens when banks go, I don't like the fact that your business is centred around the production of lambs and then the slaughter of lambs or cattle, etc. We don't think it's ethical. And then they shut them down, so then we just lose farms.
Yeah, Patrick, you see, I'm a beef farmer and I graze them on grass and I have a sort of very good conservation. So it's all a very good way of farming. But, who is it that decides what is good, what is bad? And I really don't think it's the bank's job. For goodness sake, get on and do their own business. over the years, the banks haven't exactly covered themselves in glory, what with the banking crisis. No. The old adage, they will offer you an umbrella when the sun is shining and take it away when it's raining, because over the years of my farming business, you've had trouble getting credit when you most needed it. When you least need it, they'll give you credit. So, why don't the banks go back to making sure that we can actually get our money and carry on our businesses? Because, it's not only just about whether you agree with shooting or not, you see. There's a lot of livelihoods, a lot of gamekeepers, a lot of people, a lot of money is put into the countryside by those that come down and shoot, whether, people agree with it or not. And so you wouldn't really want to take that away from the countryside. And I think provided it's done properly, legally, humanely, and actually, with nature conservation, then for goodness sake, it's not for the banks to make this decision. I don't go around saying whether the City of London is behaving rightly. Have they shut down the wrong businesses? Have they taken away money from people by bad practice? Where are the banks going to stop? They haven't really put their own house in order, let alone deciding on all the rest of the world, and especially the countryside, because we are a people that we get on with our lives, we enjoy the countryside, we look after the countryside, and actually we agree with conservation and nature. And so, let's not have the banks interfere with us. Just go away and get on with your business and let us get on with ours.
And what do people think of when they think of Britain? Very often, it's the countryside. Who looks after that countryside? The people who live in the countryside. They're entitled to have a hobby. They're entitled to engage in rural pursuits. It's fantastic local communities. Those are things that are quintessentially British, and I would argue, until I am blue in the face, that they are worth protecting more than the salary of people who are at the top of banks, OK? This is Britain. You people in the countryside are Britain. They're the lifeblood of Britain. And some snivelling little so-and-so who decides that they want a soya macchiato every second Tuesday from Gales whilst they come down from their ivory tower should get out of your life, Neil. But, Neil, thank you very much. Neil Parish there.
Patrick, may not all be snivelling, but I do understand your sentiments entirely. And let's get on with looking after the countryside.
I think quite a few bankers do indeed enjoy a snivel every now and again. But, Neil, thank you. Neil Parish there, farmer and former Conservative MP.